Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. I'm Zemo, the dad in DPS, and we are back with another Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty build. With 2.0 and Phantom Liberty, the entire meta of Cyberpunk has been turned on its head, and I like playing with different builds. And today's build is a pistol build. A crazy, explodey, murdery pistol build. I love it, and I'm very, very frightened by how much damage this does. Either way, guys, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get on with it. So, let's talk about the build itself. As you can see, we've currently got 17 body, 20 reflexes, 20 technical, and 20 cool. Now, obviously we're not max level at the moment. It doesn't really matter. The main gist of the build is actually within these three trees. The body tree is mainly just for utility and health regen. But we'll just quickly show you what we've got in here. Basically, we've maxed out Painkiller and Adrenaline Rush, as well as getting the bits that come off the side from here. I didn't really feel like I should go for Dwarf Head or Army of One, but basically the gist of everything here is just to help us regenerate health, and obviously Adrenaline Rush will help us absorb damage while we're running around and doing stuff. It's not really that important, this section, but it does help in combat situations. Now, a point I would make about this build is, as you can see, it is a deck pistol build, and you'll see exactly why in just a second. So first off, with the tech tree, we are going for Bolt, which gives us 20% charge speed, 15% damage, and unlocks bolt shots. Now, to activate these, you charge your weapon, and just before it's fully charged, you release, and it gives an extra 30% damage and reduces the penalty from penetrating cover by 50%. Then we have Internal Clock, which increases the window in which you have the time to fire a bolt shot. We have Lightning Storm, which increases your charge speed after firing a bolt and can stack 3 times, so it can allow your gun to just go off like mad. Then we have Bolt Shots ignore enemy armor via shock value, and In Charge, so tech weapons no longer fire automatically when reaching full charge, which allows you to aim carefully, take a shot, and, kick the ass of anything you're against. Then we have Chain Lightning. Bolt now deals electrical damage and releases an electrical arc that can electrocute up to 3 nearby enemies, giving us crazy amounts of AoE. Then we have the All Things Cyber, which gives plus 10% to all Cyberware stat modifiers and minus 20% to all Cyberware costs. Pretty much, I'm not going to go through this whole thing because I'll be honest, I think most characters should have pretty much everything here. This basically unlocks Cyberware and gives you better Cyberware. This is the gist of what we've got here. This is all about having better Cyberware. I will probably have everything in this tree with every single build I ever cover, because these are all important. It unlocks new Cyberware slots for your hands, unlocks new Cyberware mods for your freaking skeleton. These are important bloody perks. Get them. Always get them. Now, in the note of what I just said about those perks, this is also a tree that I think you always need to get. Essentially, everything you see here allows you to use things like the dash ability, and dash is so goddamn important. It's just one of the most important skills. Again, this crap here is pretty much what you should always get under any circumstance. Don't let anybody else convince you otherwise. Dashing is so goddamn important. It allows you to traverse the landscape so easily. I'm not going into it because you need to read these things yourself. This changes the way you traverse the environment in this game by so much that it's so important. Get these skills. They are going to be in every build I ever play, once again. So we move on to the cool board. Now, this section is dedicated to the pistol side of it. But first, we'll talk about Road Warrior. This isn't relevant. You get this if you want. If you want to do vehicle combat, get this. If you don't, don't. So first off, we have Focus, which gives us a 10% headshot and weak spot damage increase, as well as activating Focus Mode. Now, this activates anytime you aim down the barrel at full stamina, and while you're aiming down the barrel you gain no stamina cost for shooting, and this is going to allow you to get more accurate shots in. This also reduces your stamina by 40 after 2.5 seconds when the ability wears off. Next up, we have No Sweat, which reduces the stamina cost for focus made by each enemy neutralized when it was active. So if you kill, in theory, 2 enemies, you don't get any cost to the focus mode. It's either that or you get 75% of the stamina cost of focus mode. I'm not really 100% certain how it works, but either way, in theory, if you kill a crap load of enemies, it won't really cost much or anything. Then we have Rinse and Reload, which gives us a plus 10 reload speed for your next reload after neutralizing an enemy while aiming. This can stack 2 times, so basically if you kill 2 enemies, you will get 20% reload speed for your next reload. Then we move on to head-to-head. When focus is active, neutralizing an enemy with a ranged attack resets its duration. So in theory, you could have focus mode running forever. In theory, it just depends on how quick you are at killing. Then we have Deep Breath. This slows down time by 25% for you and enemies when focus mode is active, which gives you a lot more time to line up your shots, get those headshots in, get the big damage in, and kill enemies quicker. So then we move on to Deadeye. Yet again, giving another 10% to headshot and weak spot damage. It's reducing your stamina cost for shooting by 25%, and Deadeye mode unlocks when you are above 85% stamina. And when it's active, you gain another 20% in both headshots and weak spot damage, and it also reduces your bullet spread. Now, the bullet spread thing, I'm not 100% how relevant it is. Maybe it depends on the pistol you're using or the weapon you're using. It's more probably related to your precision rifles and sniper rifles. I'm really not sure. Then we've got California Reaper. It gives you 30% stamina after neutralizing an enemy with range attack via headshots or weak spots. Then we get a 35 reload speed for your next reload after killing an enemy with headshots or weak spots. This lasts for 3 seconds and it'll slow down time by 50% during reloads. Again, we're slowing down time quite a lot with this build. Then we have Quick Draw, which if you were to swap a weapon during combat, you'll gain 30% stamina, and you have a weapon swap speed that is 30% quicker than normal. Then we have Long Shot. When Deadeye is active, your shots always deal full damage regardless of distance, which works really well with Nerves of Tungsten Steel. When Deadeye is active, guarantees crit hits for headshots and weak spots, and it increases your damage as distance increases, up to 25%. So essentially, you always do max damage, and then in theory, you can do 25% more damage. Very good at shooting at long distances. And last but not least, Run and Gun. Hip firing does not consume stamina. When focus is active, 25% movement speed. Now, even if you're not using the hip firing thing, the 25% movement speed when focus is active is very good. And even then, this is quite good for finishing off enemies that've got a slither of health left and you just want to hip fire them and take them out. So that's the gist of this. Essentially, the whole idea is that you're slowing down time so that you can line up your shots, hit the weak spots, hit the headshots, which continually recycles your different buffs that you're going to be getting from Deadeye and Focus, which essentially allows you to reload quicker, allows you to kill faster, and just rinse and repeat. If all the enemies lined up in a row, you could shoot them like ducks or fish in a freaking barrel. Now, in my last build video, I didn't really go over any of the relic stuff, but I will point out with this build, it's actually vitally important that you get vulnerability analytics. This is what allows you to see weak spots. And as you saw, getting headshots and hitting weak spots is actually going to increase your damage and increase your utility vastly. So this should be the first thing that you unlock if you're using the pistol build. On top of that, you also should be unlocking machine learning, which increases the chance and the frequency of finding vulnerabilities. Essentially, all this does is increase crit chance, armor penetration, and your weak spot damage bonuses and all of that. It also causes an EMP blast that can damage other enemies. And then this does pretty much the same. It just buffs what you previously had on there. So get this unlocked, otherwise the build isn't as effective as it would be otherwise. Now, something I'll say about Cyberware is there is, to an extent, a nuance with it. You might want to use certain things that I won't want to use, and I might want to use certain things that you just don't have any interest in. What I will say is there are certain items that are vital, or rather more important than others. So first off, for this build and the way I'm using it, Sandevistan is definitely the way to go because it slows down time. It's going to allow you to get some crazy crits and crazy headshot damage off, but slowing down time by 85% is a massive advantage because you can line up shots on enemies in such a quick and easy way and take them out. Then we also have the micro generator, which reloading an empty weapon causes the next shot to release an electroshock that deals up to 240 electro damage to enemies near the point of impact. A point I would make about this is that it is entirely relevant to the build because the whole idea is I'm going to be shooting a load of bullets, reloading really quickly, and reloading faster, which allows me to then get these shots off. So this is just cycling crap into my damage. We also have the feedback circuit, which when you get 3% health when you hit an enemy with a fully charged tech weapon shot. We will be using a lot of tech weapon shots, and as a result, we are going to be regenerating health via this. Then we've got things like the Kerenzikov? Yeah, that thing. When you dodge or slide or dash and aim, it'll slow down time. Again, this is vitally important because we want to be able to slow down time as much as possible to land our shots right where it needs to be. And then I've got on here the adrenal trigger, which when entering combat, for 50 seconds you get movement speed. And we want to be able to move quick and cycle around and get behind people and shoot them and get better vantage points. Everything else is pretty much just much of the same kind of thing. Boosting buffs and all these kind of things. I find Cyberware is very, very specific to the person, and you might like playing with different things that I don't like playing with. So make your own decision with that. Those were the important ones I wanted to talk about. Now, I am a firm believer of a tool for the right situation. And what I'm going to say is the main weapon to use here is this one, Leica. Look at the damage on it, 254.11. Then you have the Apparition Pistol, 39, and Lizzie, which is 63. Now, this Leica is a freaking cannon. The best thing about it is it fires explosive rounds, but it can't penetrate cover. Now, combine this with the fact that you get bolt shots, and essentially this thing is going to double AoE. That's pretty much what it does. It double AoEs and burns enemies. It's an absolute freaking beast of a gun, and is very good for taking out enemies that are out in the open and big targets. This is basically your giant killer. However, in a lot of circumstances, enemies will hide behind cover, and that's where Apparition and Lizzie will come in. They have a much bigger clip, they have a kind of better attack speed, so they are good at getting enemies through cover, and Lizzie fires in a burst when it's fully charged, also fires an extra round per shot, and increases the number of rounds fired per shot when fully charged. So essentially, Lizzie does a crap load of burst damage, and again, can hit through cover. Then we have Apparition, which will, when your health level is critical, your fire rate, reload speed, and damage are increased. Charge slots deal twice as much damage. So essentially, think of it as doing 80 damage in a pinch. It's not the best weapon, but it's definitely one that is worth using if you're low health and you want to try and get some extra shots out. Either way, the whole idea is you use the other two weapons to get through cover, and you use Leica to get through everything else. So that's the basic gist of the build and how it works and the equipment that I'm using. I'm going to be honest, I tend to use Leica more than anything else because I am incredibly aggressive using the Sandevistan, and I get up close and I blow their faces off. But, you know, you can use this build any real way you want if you want to be more stealthy about it and so on and so forth. But yeah, I like blowing people apart. Now, if you've enjoyed today's video and this has gave you some insight on how to use pistols, or rather specifically tech pistols, don't forget to leave a like, a comment and subscribe. And if you've got any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and we'll catch you in the next video.
day you called me up. You told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me